What does the Bible say about the Anunnaki gods, who were the gods of Nibiru? Have you heard of Sumer, one of the oldest known civilizations in human history? A fascinating culture with stories of mysterious gods, creators of humanity and rulers of the heavens. But what does Sumer have to do with the Bible? And what can these ancient stories tell us about our true origins? Sumerian legend tells us about the Anunnaki, humanoid beings who came from the planet Nibiru, also known as the planet of the crossroads. But who were the Anunnaki really? Simple mythological gods, as the Sumerians described them, or alien beings with advanced technology. The Bible also mentions angels, sons of God, and princes of heaven, terms that curiously overlap with the Sumerian descriptions of the Anunnaki. And yet, the question remains, are these gods divine figures, or do they represent something else, perhaps even an extraterrestrial influence on early human culture? The mysteries of Marduk and Lucifer. According to legend, the Anunnaki were looking for a leader to help them conquer the heavens. Marduk, symbolized by the dragon-serpent, was chosen. But are Marduk and Lucifer, as we know him from the Bible, actually one and the same entity? A figure divided between mythology and religion, representing rebellion and the desire to rule. Flying vehicles in the Bible. In Sumer, the gods are often portrayed traveling in flying chariots. These stories bear a striking resemblance to the biblical descriptions of chariots of fire and wheels within wheels in Ezekiel's vision. Is this a coincidence, or another piece of a larger puzzle? Noah, the flood, and the Sumerian connection. The Bible tells us about Noah and the flood that changed the world. The Sumerian legend goes further and places Noah's great-grandson as the founder of Sumer. What powerful biblical connections does this civilization hide, and how could they rewrite human history? The Anunnaki and the origin of humanity. Sumerian tablets speak of the creation of humans through a mixture of Anunnaki DNA and that of indigenous life on Earth. If the Sumerians had knowledge of DNA and hybridization thousands of years before modern technology, where did this information come from? Planet Nibiru, myth or reality? The Sumerians described Nibiru as a planet with an elliptical orbit that returns to Earth's vicinity every 3,600 years. In 1983, astronomers discovered a mysterious celestial body near the constellation Orion, too close to Earth to ignore. Could this be proof that the Sumerian legends are hiding cosmic truths? A war in heaven, the concept that predates the Bible. Legends of a war between gods or angels are older than the Bible. Could the story of this war have been passed down to Noah, then his grandchildren, to become part of human history? What role did the Anunnaki play in this cosmic struggle? Riddles and unanswered questions. Are the Anunnaki fallen angels who manipulated human culture? Is Nibiru real, and will it ever return to our solar system? Do the vehicles in the Bible and Sumerian myths about flying chariots indicate alien technology? Come join us. Discover a story that combines the Bible, Sumerian mythology, and alien theories in a captivating exploration. Is this just a collection of myths, or does it hide truths about the origins of humanity and the influence of beings from another world? Prepare to find answers that will change the way you look at the past and the future. The first question that should be asked is, how exactly did the Sumerians know about the 12th planet at the level of their technology? According to the Sumerians, the Anunnaki gave them this knowledge, and we will be visited again by the Anunnaki in the future. The Sumerians believed that the planet of the crossroads had an elliptical orbit, passing through our solar system once every 3,600 years. The Sumerian tablets also speak of the Anunnaki creating humans by combining their own DNA with the indigenous life that was already on Earth. Dig deeper, although subtle, the Anunnaki lie that they added their DNA to the indigenous life on Earth confirms that animals were created before humans, as stated in Genesis. How did the Sumerians know about DNA and the creation of hybrids so early in human history? Ecclesiastes comes to mind when we consider this question. Another Sumerian belief, which was the basis for the movie Stargate and the TV series Stargate SG-1, is that the gods built the pyramids and used humans as slaves. Patrick Heron, the best-selling Christian author, is best known for his book The Nephilim and the Pyramid in Revelation. In his book, he presents a wealth of evidence that suggests that fallen angels may have been involved in the construction of the Great Pyramid. His research is a useful way to look into the strange history of humanity. The Anunnaki were not the gods they claimed to be, but were simply fallen angels who took refuge here on earth after their war in heaven. Their intent was and is to deceive and manipulate the cultures they presented themselves to in order to divert our attention from the true and living God. While the Sumerians have detailed records of these beings, who they claim lived among them, there were other civilizations across the ocean who experienced similar events. Strange vehicles in the Bible. Aliens are not the only beings in history who have been depicted in flying machines. The Sumerians, Egyptians, Greeks, and Persians all depicted some of their gods using flying machines and chariots as a means of transportation. In the Bible, angels are depicted in fiery chariots capable of flight. Perhaps the strangest incident in the Bible involved Ezekiel and the wheel inside another wheel. In almost every UFO book and on almost every UFO website, we find a reference to Ezekiel's wheels. The biblical text is used by many ancient astronaut theorists as evidence of extraterrestrial activity in the Bible. Before we get into the theories about this text, let's take a look at the text itself. I was looking at these living creatures, and behold, on the ground, besides the living creatures, there was a wheel on each of their 4 faces. The appearance of these wheels and the material of which they were made was like chrysolite, and all 4 had the same construction. Their appearance and construction were such that each wheel appeared to be in the middle of another wheel. The image above is what some people believe Ezekiel saw in his vision. Whatever it was that he saw, he tried to convey the information to us as best he could. Even when we study the verse in Hebrew, there is not much clarity, but one aspect of the story stands out. The creatures that Ezekiel saw were not inside the wheels, but the wheels moved in unison with them. They didn't seem to need wheels to move through the air. Angelic technology seems to play a very important role throughout the Bible. From what the Bible tells us, God encourages learning, and angels are not omniscient. It would make sense for angels to develop a means of transportation to and from other planets, galaxies, and dimensions. Unlike Christ, who claimed to be omnipresent, angels seem to have to travel the distance from point A to point B. One such example is found in Daniel 10. And he said unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for thy words were heard from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, and to humble thyself before thy God, and I am come for thy words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, but, lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to my aid, and I prevailed there against the kings of Persia. Angels may be able to change from spiritual to physical in an instant, but it seems that they are actually required to travel the distance. The angel in the book of Daniel states that he was sent on the very first day that Daniel began his fast, but was intercepted by the prince of the kingdom of Persia. This prince of Persia delayed the angel's journey for 20 days. If angels could simply teleport or manifest themselves in the physical world, he probably would not have been delayed. As they walked along, a chariot of fire and horses of fire separated them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. On the surface, the event that happened to Elijah and Elisha does not seem unusual in the context of the Bible. In fact, it seems quite normal, at least until we read about it in Hebrew. The Hebrew word translated horse is kyuk, which literally means to jump or leap. It is also translated swallow, bird, and crane, bird. The 1611 translators did the best they could with the knowledge available at the time, and made the logical assumption that it was about horses. Both Ezekiel and Elijah witnessed something and experienced something that they could not accurately describe with the knowledge of their day. Now that we have seen examples of supernatural beings with vehicles capable of flying, let's take a look at what they thought they looked like. Could extraterrestrial deception be part of the end times? We know that the events of the end times, as described in the Bible, will include a great deception. Recently, there has been a growing interest in the theory that the deception will include extraterrestrial beings from another planet. As strange as it may seem, this theory is entirely plausible from a Christian perspective. Although the Bible does not tell us at all whether aliens exist or not, they are not included in the Genesis creation account, nor are they mentioned elsewhere. The Bible does tell us about visitors from another world, the spirit world. From the beginning, instances of demons, fallen angels, visiting the earth have been witnessed and recorded. We know from Eve's encounter with Satan that demons are interested in monitoring and redirecting the progress of humanity. They want to be involved in order to draw humanity away from the worship of God and, in turn, to draw people's attention to themselves. Another notable instance of their interaction with us is found in Genesis, with the arrival of the sons of God. The Genesis account states that these powerful beings had sexual relations with women and produced a super race of beings known as the Nephilim. This sounds like the stuff of science fiction, and yet it is right there in the Bible. There are striking similarities between this account and the accounts of other ancient cultures. The writings of the ancient Sumerians, for example, who were the first to produce a written language, mention the presence of the Anunnaki extraterrestrials, who were deities who came from heaven to live on earth with humans. It is also interesting to note that the Sumerian gods often came to them in the form of snakes. These accounts, viewed alongside the great things created by the ancients, make possible the theory that demons, in the form of beings from another world, came to earth, bringing spectacular wisdom and knowledge to humans and marrying their daughters in an attempt to lure humans away from God. We already see from Eve's experience with the serpent that demons will use the temptation of superior wisdom to lure humans, and that humans are very susceptible to it. Could the end times include a similar extraterrestrial deception? The Bible does not directly address this issue, but it is certainly plausible for several reasons. First, the Bible tells us that the world will unite under the power of the Antichrist. In order to achieve agreement among all the world's religions, it seems plausible for the unifier to come from an entirely new source, an extraterrestrial source. It is hard to imagine one religion becoming the head of all others unless some new, unearthly knowledge were the source of the attraction and power of the new religion. This would be consistent with past deceptions and would be a very effective method of deceiving large numbers of people. Second, this deception may provide the answer to the question of the origin of the Earth. The scientific theory that the evolution of life on Earth was generated spontaneously does not yet have an answer for the beginning of life. There is evidence for a Big Bang, but this still does not explain what caused it. If extraterrestrial beings derived and gave us an explanation for life on Earth, the origin of the world's religions, and even the origin of our planet, that would be very compelling. That being said, we need not fear. The Lord said He would not leave us, nor forsake us, and that He would protect us. Demons/angels are not omnipotent, nor omnipresent. Jesus said that in the end times His coming would be like lightning, easily seen by all. He said to be on the lookout for any being who says, "I am the Christ," or any group that says He is there or "Look here." He said that vultures gather around a dead body, meaning that if you see a group of people gathering around someone who claims to be the Christ, that person is dead and a false prophet. We must be wary of anyone who performs signs and wonders without biblical fidelity or the presence of obedience to the Lord Jesus, anyone who provides a way to unify the world's religions or governments, and any being who promotes unnatural sexual relations, and of course, anyone who denies that Jesus is God. Furthermore, anyone who presents a substitute for Jesus, who represents Him as the God, but not the only God, or who claims that He was simply a good teacher, a mere man, or even a superman or an extraterrestrial being, is a deceiver. Finally, if demons manifesting as extraterrestrials are part of the end times, we must remember that they too are created beings subject to and ultimately accountable to the sovereign God. Whether in alien form or not, the description of demons in Revelation is frightening, but we need not fear those who can kill the body, but only the one who can kill both body and soul in hell. Regardless of what happens to us on earth, we must trust that the Lord is the Savior, the Redeemer, and the protector of the soul of those who put their trust in Him.